It's been an unideal year for the folks out there in Auburn, Alabama. We've done this a lot throughout the course of this show's existence, taking a pulse of the program. So we are putting our two fingers right there on probably the wrist, because I think that's probably the easiest way to get the pulse. You could also do the side of the neck from what I've heard. Apologize, I probably just covered my mic. Probably the side of the neck, also a good way to get the pulse. We're going to do that for Auburn right now. Auburn Tiger fans, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. College football, nothing but college football year round. Going to talk a lot about your Tigers. We appreciate you in advance for being subscribed. Going into this year now, the expectations were, hey, this is the year we take a massive step forward. I'm talking 8-4. We're 7-5, but we take a massive step forward. We lay the foundation for what we're going to be in the Hugh Freeze era, and then the good times are here again. Recruiting takes off. Start winning ball games. The offense looks to how it's supposed to, and y'all, it hasn't been that. It hasn't been that. Auburn right now is 3-6. The offense, while they've flashed at times, they've been up there nationally when it comes to yards per play. Defense has been really solid. They've struggled to take care of the football. They've struggled to, quite frankly, beat inferior opponents when it comes to the roster talent, and they're right now sitting at 3-6. And a large part of this, and I hate to say this, but like a large part of it is because of what Peyton Thorne hasn't brought to the table. Now, hear me clearly. I don't think it's a 100% thing where it's on Peyton Thorne. I think some of this is the offense gelling together. I think it's receivers making plays for him. I think it is the run game being consistent for him. I think there's a lot of things here to factor in when you talk about Auburn. And also playing in the SEC, it's a very, very different ball game than if you're playing in another conference. So I don't want to make this just sound too simplistic. But at the end of the day, man, you're the quarterback. You got to make us right. You got to be the equalizer for us. And so I think a lot of folks in Auburn, Alabama right now are like, man, if we had gone to the portal, we go get ourselves somebody. I don't want to mention a specific name because who knows who it would have been. But if we go to the portal, how different is our season? The answer is I don't know. I don't know. But again, this is not the year that you had envisioned. I totally get that. But I think it's interesting now when you zoom in on the fan base and their approach and their attitude to how things are going right now. Because the stat that's floating out right there, or that's I'll rephrase that. The stat that is floating around out there right now is Hugh Freeze and his record at this point in time compared to where Bryan Harsin was at this point in time at Auburn. Right now, Hugh Freeze has a worse record than Bryan Harsin. So people outside the Auburn circle are throwing stones and saying, man, he's not the right guy for the job. You hired Bryan Harsin 2.0, just saying nonsense, saying just ridiculous things. Notice the pulse at Auburn, the fans at Auburn. I very, very seldom hear the thought that, man, Hugh Freeze isn't the right guy. Man, I don't know if he should get another year. Nobody's saying that. Why? Because Hugh Freeze is doing things that Bryan Harsin was not doing at Auburn. Most notably, recruiting. Adding players. There is real direction, vision, and I'll say this too, on the recruiting trail now, there is momentum. Whenever you see, more often than not now, you see teams have a lack of success when they're supposed to have success during a season, what do you see? You see Hayes Fawcett decommitment graphics flying off the shelves. Haven't seen that with Auburn. Actually, the opposite. Auburn's going to work right now. Auburn has a top 6 class in America. Auburn got themselves Deuce Knight, one of the top quarterbacks in America. Auburn flipped him from Notre Dame. Auburn is currently working to flip a number of other players. All right, so it's interesting to note now there's actual momentum. There's an undercurrent at Auburn that is heading the right direction. Why is that? I think there's still belief in the vision and the plan of Hugh Freeze. It's also worth noting now, the head coach before Hugh Freeze, that we just mentioned Bryan Harsin. I don't want to say it's all Bryan Harsin's fault because it's never 100% one way or the other when you speak about things like this, especially college football programs. But it was not a ready-made situation. There is a reason why Hugh Freeze went heavily to the portal. There is a reason why a lot of young bucks are playing for Auburn this year. The talent level is not yet where it needs to be at. It's better. It's 100% better. But at the same time, it takes a while, I believe, for that roster talent to ultimately gel, solidify, and play at the level you need to play at. Even more importantly, when you don't have the quarterback you need to go win how you want to win. And again, I hate to throw shade at Peyton Thorne. It's not what we're trying to do here. I think Peyton Thorne is doing his best out there, but it's not working. It's not working. So what do you do now going forward? What's the vision at Auburn? We talked about vision, talked about momentum. What's the deal here? I said at the top of this segment, this year for Auburn was about foundation. Now, when you lay the foundation, what is it? It's just a base. right? It's just a way of doing things. It could be the roster. It could be culture. It is a base. Now, when you lay the foundation down, you may not see that. You're not putting a roof on the foundation. You're not putting a skyscraper up when you lay the foundation. The foundation is laid to eventually do those things. And so what I'm trying to say here is you can lay the foundation and do it the right way and still not see return on investment right away. So this was supposed to be the foundational year, right? Where you saw results, where you go win 8 football games. Yeah, 100%. But it hasn't happened that way. That doesn't mean the work they're doing there internally at Auburn isn't still good work. It doesn't mean they can't still pop next year and do everything they wanted to do in that third year under Hugh Freeze anyway. So the path forward now is you're pushing this boulder up a hill. You are, from a roster perspective, from a way of doing things perspective, at least on the field, finding a way to not make these mistakes that hurt yourself and turn the football over. That's all what they're doing right now internally at Auburn. And we could see it come to fruition in a massive and very visible way this time next year. Not predicting it right now. The task ahead of them is you hit the portal again probably. You definitely hit the portal for a quarterback. You let Deuce Knight sit for a year, in my opinion, and then we'll see where this thing is this time next year. But the thing I would say here for Auburn, the pulse of the program is let's stay the course. Stay the course. Has it been how we wanted it to be this year? No. Are there things to gripe about? Absolutely. Does everybody have a fair share of blame from the roster to the head coach to the staff? Of course. Of course. That's the way that college football works. But I think we'd also be very much so ill-advised to think that for some reason the record that Brian Harsin had and the record Hugh Freeze has right now is the same situation and the same trajectory. It's not. Lay the foundation, do the right things, and then you could very much so, I believe, have that pop year you want to have in year 3.